there, Trekkers and Trekkies. So, back when I was in college, one of the guys who I became friends with, I'm still acquainted with him. We occasionally catch up on Facebook, despite the fact that it's been 20 years, because he was actually a pretty cool guy. When I met him, first time I met him was we were in the student union building, and I sat down next to this guy who was reading a book, and I kind of you know how you kind of look over and you're like, what the hell is he reading? And I finally go, what are you reading? He was reading the book on Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, Elvish, and learning how to speak Elvish. I don't think that's the term for it. If somebody wants to correct me in the comments, feel free. I don't care. I liked the Lord of the Rings. I enjoyed the books when I was a kid. Loved the movies when I was a young adult. They started coming out when I was about 20. Or I think I was 19 when the first one came out. Don't quite remember. Oh well. Probably 2021. It's been too long. God, when did those movies come out? Man, it's been a long time. But anyways, I was like, good for you. It's something you want to learn. I mean, and he did. He learned to speak it, and I know that he's involved in like the Renaissance fairs and stuff nowadays, and he can do the whole Elvish thing, and all 5 other people in the world who can do it will occasionally apparently talk to him in Elvish. And that brings us to today. I don't know if it's still true. I remember at some point in the early 2000s, there was an article that came out that said that there were more people in the world who spoke Klingon than there were who spoke, oh, what language was that? The Wind Talkers, the Native American language that was used during World War, because in World War II, by the time of World War II, there was like only a couple of hundred people who even spoke the language, and so they were used for transmitting pause. Okay, it was Navajo. That there was an article some years ago that claimed that more people spoke Klingon than Navajo. I don't know if that's still true. I have some friends who are First Nations. I don't know if they're Navajo. I'm not. We don't talk about. We talk music whenever we hang out. We don't talk about native shit. But that's what brings us to today's book, the Klingon Dictionary. So this is Star Trek: The Official Guide to Klingon Words and Phrases by Marc Okrand. I have watched some videos of Marc Okrand doing in stuff. He seems to be a very fascinating guy. One thing people might not know, so the first actual use of Klingon language was in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. That opening sequence where we go to the Klingon ship, we see Mark Leonard, who had previously played Sarek, is playing the Klingon captain. But a lot of people don't know this. That's not his voice that you hear. He was actually just speaking English. Like saying, scanners and fire and what all. It was actually Jimmy Doohan, the guy who plays Scotty, who dubbed in his voice doing they told him to do like these guttural, weird, kind of weird stuff to just put in over his voice for the Klingon language. And they would put the dub down at the bottom saying what it said. And that was fine for a single scene in that movie, But when they were getting to Star Trek 3 and realized that they were going to have a whole crew of Klingons spending quite a bit of time doing stuff in the movie, that they wanted to actually have more structure to the sound of the Klingon language. So they hired Marc Okrand to come in and help develop the Klingon language. And after that, he decided to go off and create the whole language. And so he initially, let me get this to here. Initially published the this particular dictionary in 1983. This is from the reprinting in 92, where it got this cover on it. And he goes through. I have read some of this. I have not read all of this because holy crap. I didn't do that well in my English classes during grade school. You think I'm going to do any better when studying about nouns and pronouns and verbs and usage and stresses? And I know there are people who love this kind of stuff. I've got some friends who are very much into language who would probably, the first half of this book, they would probably love. As far as the whole, how, different grammar is used in the Klingon language. It's not for me. I do find this book to be interesting, especially when you get to the second half of the book, which is where it actually becomes basically the translator portion of the book, where you can use it to learn, how to say words and phrases in Klingon. There's a Klingon to English section, and then there is a little further an English to Klingon section. Let me see if I can get in close enough for you to make out any of those words. Apparently, compromise is mos. So we'll try to find a mos when it comes to this book. But no, I am not dissing this book at all. It is fascinating. If you're the kind of person who is into studying the details of the language and really want to learn, then go for it. Get this book, read it, be like, put it on your resume, be like, speaks so many different languages, including Klingon. And then people will think that you're weird and not hire you for a job, and it'll be fine because you speak Klingon. So anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you get a kick out of this. Go check out that book yourself. Maybe your library has it. If not, I know that there is a couple, heck, I think Google, the Google Translate thing now has a Klingon translator in it. There's some other websites that do it as well. I've always wondered how accurate they are. Maybe if we can get a hold of Marc Okrand at some point, he can tell us a little bit about how accurate Google Translate is for Klingon. Until then, take care of yourself. Have fun. I'll see you next time. Go out and make something. If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell icon. If you want to support me, you can find me on Patreon or go over to Zazzle for prints of my artwork, t-shirts, and other cool stuff. If you're still here, why? Do you want to jam out?